Hello. Right, as it's been absolutely ages since my last update, I thought I'd better actually do something else on this channel. So thank you and welcome to all my new subscribers. I've been amazed actually at the amount of people who's actually watched my previous video, which I put on following my CFast journey into these braces of mine. So yeah, it's been just short of a month since I've had them on. It was Friday the 13th of October that I had them put on. As you'll have seen in my previous video, if you've not watched it yet, pop on over and have a watch. It was rather painful for the first few days after my braces had been put on. However, I did promise I would do an update, and so here I am. So yes, so let's think back to where we were at with my last video. I think it was about a week after I'd had them on. I'd had a good few days of fairly severe pain, only when eating. The rest of the time it wasn't really hurting at all. But eating did prove to be a bit of a problem for the first few days. That since has got much better. Literally up until a couple of days ago, I could eat almost anything. A couple of days ago, I would say, so you're looking at like 3.5 weeks roughly after they'd been put on, all of a sudden they started to feel a little bit strange again, in the sense that when I was biting on things, I could feel it just wasn't quite right. So I sort of had to rein in the eating hard food again thing a little bit. However, I must admit, I've pretty much ignored most of the advice regarding eating crisps and things because I love crisps. So I have been eating plenty of them once the pain had stopped after the first couple of days. So let's see where we're up to. Yeah, I'll be inserting some of the still pictures for you to see progress and just a general look of what they look like, because you can't really see on the video. As you'll see, compared to the first video, they have started to like stain a little bit, which is what I was told they would do. The one thing I have been very careful with is eating tomatoey based foods, things with strong red colourings in, for instance the Indian takeaways, which I'm not allowed to have anymore. So I have listened to my dentist in that respect, so I haven't had anything at all like that. I haven't had any tomato soup or any sort of Indian meal. So as for the staining, I say it's more yellow than anything else. To be honest, it started a couple of weeks ago. It was just a slow start really, and they're not bad. It doesn't really bother me. I thought it would get a lot worse when it started to change colour. I thought it was going to get a lot worse before my next appointment, which is actually tomorrow. So it's 10th of November for tomorrow's appointment. And if they'd have carried on getting as yellow as they suddenly seemed to go, they would have been really yellow. So whatever caused the colour change, I'm not quite sure what it was. I did go out for some cocktails, one of which was some Skittles something or another, and it was literally pea green. And it was the next day that I'd noticed they had started to change colour a little bit. Now, whether or not it's coincidence, whether or not that could have changed the colour overnight, I'm really not sure. And like I say, it was quite quick, it was quite sudden. All of a sudden they seemed to change colour. So I don't know what it was, but they've not got any worse. So that's really good. I'm quite pleased with that. Since my last video, I have had an appointment on the 23rd of October, I believe it was, which was the hygienist appointment, which was all included in the price. That wasn't pleasant, I must admit. I've not really needed a hygienist before because I've got very good dental hygiene, I must admit. And I think I've only been once before and I don't recall much about it, but this time round it was pretty horrific. But that's just me because I'm not really too keen on dentists, to be perfectly honest with you. So the hygienist basically had a good look, showed me, so the sun's blaring in from the back there we go. You know, obviously she explained how important it is to keep the braces clean, keep the teeth around the braces clean, and while she was obviously doing the scale and polish and all the rest of it, she used these things. I wasn't a fan. Incidental brushing is not for me. I have tried. I will persevere, but it's pretty horrific, to be honest. When she'd finished, and obviously they tell you to swill your mouth out, what can only be described as a scene from a horror film, was what I spat out into the little bowl thing, sink thing next to me. It was just blood, just red. Now, bearing in mind, I have got good dental hygiene. The braces haven't affected that in that respect. They'd only been on a week by the time I saw the hygienist, so I can't see it being the braces have suddenly caused me to not be able to brush my teeth and have good dental hygiene. Obviously, I know it won't, they won't be as good as they were before I had braces on in that respect, because it's impossible to keep your teeth as clean as you would otherwise. But yeah, the interdental brush thing, it wasn't pleasant. But like she said, it's good because you can use little brushes over the top of your brace wire to really clean. It's like flossing essentially, only you can't floss when you've got braces, because obviously you can't get the floss right the way up to your gum line. As she explained, there was no harm in making them bleed. The bleeding is just a sign of inflammation. And like I said, the actual blood itself doesn't bother me. It's just the fact that you're shoving a wiry brush through to your gum line. It's a bit rank. Anyway, so that was my hygienist appointment. Since then, like I say, then it was about a week after that I did go out on the booze, and they changed colour. Let's see what else. Oh yes, the other funny, strange thing I've discovered was about 2 weeks after I'd had them on, I was still incapable of eating big chunks of chocolate, because I can only describe it as it wasn't hurting anymore. The pain had long since stopped. But they're not kidding when they tell you that your teeth start to move and the roots go, like, your teeth, the teeth roots start to move so quickly, because eating, I never give it a thought. I have such a terrible diet. I literally live off crisps and chocolate half the time. So I'd put this fairly large chunk of chocolate in my mouth, never given it a thought, chucks it in my mouth, only to, it's unpleasant, but I'll tell you anyway because it's funny. It was so big, and the fact that I then couldn't bite it, like literally crunch it into smaller pieces, I literally ended up it was essentially like a gobstopper of chocolate that was slowly melting. Then the doorbell went. I was like, oh my God, what do I do? Do I spit it out into the sink? What do I do? But it was too nice to waste. So I tried answering the door. It was the postman. And he's dead chatty, and I couldn't really talk because I had a mouthful of chocolate, which by now I felt like I was going to start drooling like chocolate. I thought, this is just not a good look. So I've not tried eating any more large chunks of chocolate. Lesson learned: chop your chocolate up or break the pieces smaller. Right, I'm back. My phone critically at that point decided it was full of space. It didn't have enough room, and it was full of junk, so it needed me to clear the phone out. So yes, I'm back. However, it has meant I could close the door, so we're no longer having to sit like this because I'm getting beamed full of sunlight. So that's a bonus. I only literally had another little thing to say, really, before I'd finished the video anyway. So I'm gonna have to splice it together. And that was to just say, don't ever go out for a Chinese meal in any kind of restaurant. Always get a takeaway, because if you're anything like me and you love crispy seaweed, I since discovered it's not good to eat crispy seaweed with a brace. Luckily it was a takeaway, thank God. But yeah, so along with the chocolate discovery and not being able to eat large chunks of chocolate, I've discovered if I was to go out for a Chinese meal in a restaurant, I won't be ordering crispy seaweed. What can only be described as interweaved bits of seaweed getting stuck in all your teeth. I would have taken a photo had I remembered at the time that I could have installed it into this funny video as a bit of a laugh for everyone. Sort of glad I didn't though, because to be honest it was nothing short of embarrassing. So yes, so don't do it, because it literally had got stuck in pretty much every single one. And oh God, we're talking at least 10 or more swills of water down the sink, and there were still bits of seaweed appearing in the sink. Numerous attempts at mouthwash, it was still appearing. Even rubbing with brushing with my toothbrush, it was just intertwined by now. So after, like, I'm not exaggerating when I say about 15 rinses with water and or mouthwash, I still had to take a tweezer to it and take a very stubborn bit out from one of the brackets at the back. So yeah, it wasn't a good look at all. But other than that, and my funny chocolate story and the interdental brush effect, which was far from pleasant at the hygienist, overall I am really pleased the fact that I've had them put on. Regarding the bottom teeth, I have had people asking if I've regretted not having the bottom ones done. Part of me, I will admit, I have, in the sense that obviously they're not perfect. I know that they're not perfect. That one in particular could do with budging itself back a bit. But overall, I don't regret it. I still have no real regrets for not doing. A, because I said the first time in the first video the expense was a great deal more, and B, it was painful after the first few days, so I dare say if she'd put both top and bottom on at the same time, I would have been incapable of eating anything for even longer. I don't know whether or not maybe dentists stagger it, maybe they do top and then bottom arch on a different time. I don't know, it was never discussed obviously because I knew I wasn't going to go ahead with it. If I was to do it again, like in the future, if I happen to have a lottery windfall, then I would, from what I've experienced with the top so far, hasn't put me off at all. I would have the bottom ones done. If someone offered to do it for free for me, I would have it done like that. So that's sort of a good indication that it's not, you know, it's really not bad. So if you are thinking about having them done, so far 1 month in, I can highly recommend it. I haven't actually studied the pictures from last time to the ones I've literally just taken this morning yet. I'm going to do that after I finish this video. At some point this evening I'll put them all on the computer and attempt to splice them into this video, and then obviously merge this video with the one I took a few minutes ago before my phone decided it was full of memory, or full up rather. And I am quite curious to see what they look like, to be honest, because the pictures I'd taken originally, the ones I tried to take of like what my teeth looked like from underneath, as it were. I remember saying in my last video that I was pretty sure they'd already started to move, but I wasn't convinced that they would have done because it was only like a week later. They definitely have moved. Definitely, these two are far more like flatter. They're not quite right, you know, there's still a little bit of a lip, but they're much less of a lip than there was. I'm certain of it. Like I say, I will compare the pictures after, and if I can I will put them in this video. So there we go. So tomorrow's appointment, so far as I'm aware, she will be, I don't know whether she tightens things up or whether she changes the wire as a whole, I'm not sure. I can't remember if in my first video I mentioned the fact that the wire wasn't straight, and she'd said that would be the case. This tooth there, that wire between that one and that one was quite a fair angle. Again, I will compare the photos later. It was a much more of an angle. I think, I'm pretty sure it's moved a little bit and it's now a little bit flatter. Still not totally straight, as you can see. So yeah, so really what tomorrow's appointment consists of, I'm not sure, but obviously I'm expecting there to be a few more days of pain and not being able to eat again, so I'm going to pile a load of crisps in myself tonight, and I will update you accordingly. Thank you.